The term neoliberalism is a very curious one. First of all, it's not liberal by any means, as we've discussed. It's not new. It was neoliberal policies, or something rather like them, that created the Third World. If you go back to, say, the 18th century, the centers of the world economy were China, India mostly, and it changed. The differences between the rich and the poor were not very great, nowhere near like today. Europe grew and developed, first England and the United States, Germany, Italy, and so on. They developed by radically violating what are now called neoliberal principles, strong states, direct intervention in the economy, and so on. India and later China were devastated, and the same is true of what we now call the Third World. How? By forced imposition of market principles. And this is furthermore well known. So if you read serious economic historians, Paul Roche, for example, he simply points out that protectionism and state intervention created the rich and developed societies. He doesn't call it neoliberalism, but forced liberalization pretty much created the Third World. To see how every element of the neoliberal package is specifically designed to undercut democracy. It's rarely discussed, and people talk about its economic effects. But just think it through. Let's take, say, financial liberalization core. For Keynes, the greatest achievement of the Bretton Woods system, post-war system, was to institute financial regulation. And there's a reason. That provides space for governments to undertake programs that are supported by the population. If you have no constraints on capital flow, then you can attack currencies freely. Now, that creates what international economists sometimes call a virtual parliament of investors and lenders who can, I'm quoting from technical literature, it can carry out a moment-by-moment referendum on government policies. And if they think the policies are irrational, they can vote against them by capital flight or by a tax on the currencies and so on. The policies that are irrational are, by definition, those that benefit people but don't improve profit and market access and so on. And therefore governments face what's called a dual constituency, their own population and the virtual parliament. And the virtual parliament usually wins, especially in poor countries. The rich countries it was modulated, first of all, they didn't accept the neoliberal package as completely as, say, Latin America, but to the extent that they did, the effects are predictable. And the same is true of other elements of the neoliberal programs. So take, say, privatization, which became a mantra. Well, by definition, privatization undercuts democracy, takes something out of the public arena and puts it into the hands of unaccountable private tyrannies that are created and supported by the state, which is what corporations are.